Have you ever felt that frustrating sensation? You're dreaming of a better version of yourself, picturing these grand leaps forward. But then you look at the sheer mountain of change that seems to stand in your way, and you just feel, well, completely overwhelmed.
We set these magnificent goals, right? Like those ambitious New Year's resolutions, only to find our motivation just fizzles out like a damp sparkler, leaving us right back where we started. It's a familiar story for so many of us.
Oh, it absolutely is. We often put, immense pressure on ourselves for those radical life changes, those ambitious, sweeping overhauls. We're told to go big or go home. But what we frequently discover is that this all-or-nothing approach, it tends to lead directly to disappointment, maybe burnout, and ultimately failure. It's almost like we're unknowingly setting ourselves up for a stumble. That's precisely it. Yeah, you're gearing up for a sprint when what you truly need to build is like a sustainable marathon pace. And that's really the core idea behind today's deep dive. The genuinely surprising truth here isn't about monumental leaps, not really. It's about the revolutionary, almost counterintuitive power of consistency and, well, tiny daily steps. Our mission today is to unpack how to genuinely build habits for personal growth. We're drawing insights from mental well-being, physical health, and the actual science of human behavior. We're aiming to give you a shortcut, a clear path to becoming consistently better without all of that, soul-crushing overwhelm.
That's exactly right. It's about letting go of the idea that you need to be constantly pushing for intensity. The real secret, the secret to lasting transformation is consistent, small action. We'll explore how this approach actually trains your brain, builds profound self-trust, and makes progress sort of inevitable rather than, accidental.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Our first big idea gets into the underestimated power of the atomic specifically. That huge shift from chasing ambitious results to building sustainable systems. So, if going big often leads to fizzle, what's the actual alternative? And why does aiming for radical change backfire so often?
Well, the core issue, as our sources highlight, is that when we focus only on a massive result like, say, losing 50 pounds or writing a whole novel, we often neglect the repeatable process or the system that actually produces that result. The sheer size of the goal can be debilitating. It creates this feeling of too much to do before you've even started. It's like trying to build a skyscraper without laying a single brick first. We're often bombarded with messages that encourage these immediate dramatic transformations, right? But those stories rarely show the painstaking daily effort that truly underpins success.
Right. So instead of declaring, I will lose 50 pounds, it's more effective to say something like, I am becoming a person who consistently prioritizes their health. It feels like a subtle shift, but maybe profoundly powerful. Moving from outcome to identity. And this brings us to atomic habits and micro habits. Expert, can you define what an atomic habit truly is for us? Is it just like a really small habit?
That's a great question, actually, because it's more than just small. An atomic habit is a tiny, easy-to-do routine, yes, but it's also an element of a much larger intentional system of growth. So it's not just about the size of the action itself, but its role as a fundamental building block within a bigger structure. These small, deliberate steps taken daily, they're far more powerful because they compound over time, unlike those occasional intense but ultimately unsustainable efforts.
That idea of a small element in a larger system is really powerful.
Okay.
So when we talk about micro habits, are we talking about something even smaller than atomic, or is there a key difference?
Yeah, the distinction is pretty critical. Microhabits are those incredibly tiny, almost laughably manageable actions. Seriously simple. They are so simple and quick that they are virtually impossible to refuse. The goal with microhabits is to completely bypass that typical resistance we all feel, what some experts call limbic friction, that mental drag that just keeps us from starting. Think about it. Maybe 2 minutes of deep breathing, writing down just one thing you're grateful for, or simply drinking a glass of water when you wake up. They're designed to be so easy your brain doesn't even bother putting up a fight.
Laughably easy. I like that phrase. It really sticks. It makes it feel so achievable, almost like a secret cheat code or something. But what's the big payoff from these seemingly tiny actions? Is it really enough to make a difference long term?
Oh, absolutely. It's all about the compound interest effect. That's where the magic really happens. Just like, money in a savings account. These seemingly insignificant actions accumulate over time, leading to profound, sometimes really startling transformations. A single minute of mindful breathing might not feel like much today, true. But a minute every single day for a year, That adds up to over 6 hours of intentional presence. These small, consistent actions build a foundation that just gets stronger with every tiny repetition. It makes time your greatest ally instead of, well, your enemy.
Okay, now this is where it gets really fascinating for me. The science behind our daily actions and understanding how our brain actually works. We often talk about the cue, routine, reward loop that drives habits. But what part of it do people most often maybe misunderstand or underestimate when they're trying to build new habits?
Well, most people get the basic sequence. A cue triggers an action, the routine is the action itself, and the reward reinforces it. That's pretty straightforward. But what's often missed is just how deeply this loop gets hardwired into the basal ganglia. That's the part of your brain responsible for automatic behaviors. With enough repetition, the brain effectively goes on autopilot. It just does it. The misunderstanding often lies in not recognizing the subtle, often unconscious cues that trigger unwanted habits. Or maybe not building in rewards that are immediate enough for the new, desirable behavior.
And dopamine plays a huge role in that, right? It's not just about feeling good afterward, but actually cementing the habit itself.
Precisely. Exactly. Dopamine is often simplified to the feel-good chemical, but it's probably more accurately described as the feel-motivated or even the anticipation chemical. It's released not just when you get the reward, but crucially, in anticipation of it. It signals to your brain that an action is desirable and, yeah, should be repeated. This release strengthens that habit loop. And micro habits, they're particularly effective because their simplicity often leads to quick, easy wins, which in turn results in frequent small dopamine boosts. These consistent, tiny rewards make them incredibly sticky, reinforcing the desire to keep going.
That makes so much sense. It's like you're giving your brain a constant stream of little high fives just for starting. Okay. But then there's that universal struggle we all face.
Yeah.
The present self versus future self. My future self has all these amazing plans, run a marathon, learn Mandarin, finally organize my entire digital life. But then my present self just wants to scroll TikTok or, binge watch something. What exactly is going on in our brains when that happens?
That's time inconsistency in action, and it's absolutely at the root of so much chronic procrastination. Your future self, an incredible planner and visionary, excellent at setting ambitious long-term goals. That future self values those delayed, significant rewards. However, the present self, the one actually making decisions right now, is basically wired for immediate gratification. Your brain naturally places a higher value on immediate rewards than on future ones, even if the future reward is objectively much, much larger. It's a very primal thing.
So my future self is basically this highly aspirational CEO, and my present self is like a tiny, demanding toddler. That makes sense. And often the pain of procrastinating is actually worse than the work itself, isn't it? That nagging feeling, the guilt.
You've absolutely hit on something crucial there. The guilt, the shame, the anxiety you feel while procrastinating are almost always more uncomfortable, more draining than the actual effort required to do the work. The real problem isn't the task itself, it's starting the task. This leads us to what we sometimes call the procrastination action line. You have to find a way to shift those future consequences or future rewards into the present moment somehow. Once the immediate pain of inaction or the immediate pleasure of action becomes compelling enough, you're forced across that internal action line and you just begin.
Okay, so how do we translate all this fascinating brain science into, practical strategies for building a better us? Let's start with something you mentioned earlier that sounds really transformative. Identity-based habits. What does that actually mean?
Yeah, this is arguably one of the most effective ways to create lasting change. Instead of focusing only on what you want to achieve, say, running a marathon, you shift your focus to who you desire to become. Like, I am a runner. Every small action you take then becomes a vote for that desired identity. If you want to be a writer, you don't just aspire to write a book someday, you become a person who writes daily. Each paragraph, each sentence you manage to write is a vote. It's accumulating proof that I am a writer. This builds self-trust and powerfully reinforces that new identity.
Wow, that's a profound shift in perspective, really is. It's not just about the goal, it's about the becoming. And this connects beautifully to the famous 4 laws of behavior change for building effective habits. Can you walk us through those?
Absolutely. These laws provide a really simple, powerful framework. The first is make it obvious. Our environment is an incredibly powerful, often invisible hand shaping our behavior. You want to make the cues for your good habits basically impossible to ignore. For instance, imagine you want to start exercising first thing. Instead of leaving your workout clothes tucked away in a drawer, lay them out right next to your bed. If you want to read more, place a compelling book right on your pillow maybe, or by your toothbrush. These visual cues become immediate triggers.
Yeah, I could totally see how setting up your environment like that instantly removes friction. It makes the desired action the default almost. What's the second law?
The second law is make it attractive. This is where we can leverage something called temptation bundling. The idea is you only allow yourself to do a desired activity like listening to your favorite podcast or watching that guilty pleasure show while you're doing a task you tend to put off, like exercising or maybe folding laundry. The anticipation of the reward, that positive feeling, is what truly drives the action, not just the fulfillment of it later. You're essentially using what you love to make yourself do what you need to do. It makes the difficult task more appealing.
Huh. That's a clever way to trick yourself into productivity. It reframes the chore as the gateway to something enjoyable. Love that. And the third law?
The third law is make it easy, which fits perfectly with the law of least effort. We are naturally wired to gravitate towards the path of least resistance. It's just human nature. Therefore, the goal is to make the desired action as easy as possible. So easy it feels almost silly not to do it. This is perfectly encapsulated by the 2-minute rule. When you start a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes to do. The entire idea is to make starting ridiculously simple, trusting that momentum will often carry you further once you begin.
Less than 2 minutes. That sounds almost too easy. Won't people think they're not doing enough?
And that's the precise point. The magic isn't really in the 2 minutes themselves, it's in starting. It's about showing up. If you want to work out, start with just 1 mile of running maybe, or even just 10 push-ups. If you want to read more, start with just 1 single page. The critical part, and this is key, is to commit to doing no more than this initial, almost embarrassingly easy commitment for, say, the first 30 days. This intentionally low bar prevents your mind from finding excuses because 10 push-ups is way less daunting than a 45-minute gym session, right? It truly builds the habit of just showing up.
Okay. And within this idea of making it easy, how do concepts like single tasking and habit stacking fit in? Are they part of this?
Yeah, they fit right in. Single tasking simply means dedicating your full, undivided attention to just one task at a time. No multitasking. It dramatically reduces stress and actually increases productivity because you're cultivating a kind of mindful engagement rather than trying to juggle multiple balls frantically. Habit stacking, on the other hand, is about cleverly attaching a new habit you want to build onto an existing, already established one. For example, after I brew my morning coffee existing habit, I will write 1 line in my journal, new habit. You're leveraging an existing automatic routine as a trigger for the new behavior, making it almost effortless to remember.
Okay, so we've made the habit obvious, attractive, and easy. What's the final crucial law for making it stick? For cementing it?
The fourth law is make it satisfying. Habits are most attractive and, importantly, enduring when they are immediately associated with positive feelings. This means you need to consciously celebrate the small wins. Each minor success, no matter how tiny it seems, provides a vital dopamine boost. That reinforces the positive behavior and makes you want to repeat it. Using visual cues, like a calendar or a habit tracker app to simply mark off completed habits, creates tangible evidence of your progress. This visible proof is inherently motivating. It reinforces what's known as the endowed progress effect, that feeling that you've already made headway, which compels you to keep going.
That's so crucial, isn't it? Seeing progress definitely fuels more progress. Okay, now, beyond these 4 powerful laws, what about directly tackling the monster of procrastination itself? How do we fight it head on?
Right. To truly tackle procrastination, you often need to create immediate consequences for inaction rather than distant ones. For example, if you commit to a workout with a friend, skipping means letting someone down right now, not just feeling vaguely bad about yourself later tonight. That immediacy matters. Another incredibly effective strategy is using commitment devices. These are clever ways to design your environment or situation to make future desired actions easier and undesirable actions harder. Think about buying healthy food in individual portions to avoid overeating later. Or maybe deleting distracting social media apps from your phone before a focused work session. You're essentially locking in your future self's good behavior by making the path of least resistance the right choice for you.
So it's about engineering your environment to favor the choices you want to make. Got it. Let's talk about designing your entire day for consistent growth. Beyond specific habits, how do we structure our daily flow to support all this?
Well, a truly foundational element, one that's often overlooked, is prioritizing rest and sleep. Seriously. Getting sufficient quality sleep isn't a luxury. It's absolutely crucial for cognitive function, energy levels, mood regulation, everything. Establish a calming wind-down routine, maybe set firm screen time limits before bed, and use appropriate alarms. Even just avoiding the snooze button can make a huge difference in how productively and positively you start your day.
That sounds like basic self-care, but you're right, it's so fundamental to everything else we've discussed. What about weaving in mindful practices throughout the day?
Yeah, mindfulness isn't just about sitting on a cushion meditating, although that's great too. It's really a state of presence you can intentionally apply to almost any activity, whether it's mindful eating, really savoring your food without distraction, or mindful walking, where you pay attention to the crunch of leaves underfoot or the warmth of the sun. Even driving mindfully, focusing on the steering wheel or the sounds of the road, can transform mundane tasks into moments of connection and calm. This practice cultivates presence, it significantly reduces stress, and it sharpens your emotional balance and decision-making all day long.
So it's about being fully present, really there no matter what you're doing. And how about incorporating physical health, even through small bursts of movement? Does that count?
Absolutely, it counts. Integrating movement doesn't mean you need to suddenly hit the gym for 2 hours every day, especially not at first. It can be micro workouts, short bursts of stretching at your desk, a quick set of squats while the kettle boils, or even just brisk walks around the block on your break. Even spending just 15 minutes outdoors has tangible, immediate benefits for your energy levels, your mood, and it helps clear your head, breaking up that mental fatigue.
Those small bursts of activity really do add up over time, don't they? And for mental and emotional wellness, what consistent practices can we build into our daily routine?
A gratitude practice is incredibly powerful. Regularly listing things you're grateful for, even challenges that maybe helped you grow it, fundamentally shifts your perspective and cultivates more positive outlook. Daily journaling and self-reflection, just processing thoughts, tracking progress, or simply noting observations can foster profound self-awareness. Things like daily positive affirmations and visualizing your goals can significantly boost self-esteem and set a positive tone for the day. And for many people, a regular digital detox, dedicating a specific hour maybe, to completely unplug from devices can dramatically reduce stress and improve focus for the rest of the day.
All these elements really contribute to a truly holistic approach to self-improvement, it seems. And for productivity, beyond all these foundational habits, what strategies can we use to keep the momentum going consistently day after day?
Well, the Ivy Lee method is a classic for a reason, and it's surprisingly simple but effective. At the end of each workday, you write down the 6 most important tasks for tomorrow. Then you prioritize them by number 1 to 6. The next day, you focus on completing task number 1 until it's done, completely done, before moving to task number 2, and so on. This system dramatically removes the friction of starting each day because you already know what to do. And it forces single tasking. It demands you make tough decisions about priorities and ensures you tackle the most important thing first every single day.
So you're not just reacting to your day as it comes, you're proactively shaping it with purpose. Okay. And what about SMART goals? We hear about those all the time. How do they fit with this system-focused approach?
Right, that's a good question. While our primary focus here is on the process and the daily habits, using SMART goals that's specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound can provide essential clarity for those larger objectives without becoming overwhelming. The trick is to then break those SMART goals down into those daily micro-habits we talked about. For example, a SMART goal to improve your PowerPoint skills could be broken down into a daily micro-habit of simply watching one 2-minute tutorial video. It gives the daily effort a clear direction.
Okay. We've covered a tremendous amount of ground here, wow. From the deep science of habit formation to really practical daily strategies for a better life. But sustaining this journey, that's precisely where so many people stumble, isn't it? How do we battle that inevitable inconsistency that creeps in?
Inconsistency is, it's a common hurdle. It's almost an expectation, really. The key is to set specific times for your micro-habits. Try anchoring them to existing routines and constantly remind yourself of the larger, cumulative benefits. Even if a single repetition feels insignificant in the moment, remember that every single one is a vote for the person you're becoming. Don't let one missed day derail your entire system.
And what if that initial surge of motivation just disappears? It's so easy to start strong and then just, fade out.
Yeah. Understand that motivation is inherently fleeting. It comes and goes. It's not meant to be a constant fuel source. Consistency is the true key. When motivation wanes, remind yourself of why you started that desired identity you're building, remember? And crucially, track your progress. Even simple visual cues like a calendar where you mark off completed habits can be incredibly motivating. You visually see how far you've come, which then feeds back into your desire to keep going.
That's a powerful reminder that motivation isn't some constant well we draw from. Okay, what about navigating the inevitable setbacks? Because life always gets in the way, right? Things happen.
Absolutely. Acknowledge that life is unpredictable and perfection is, well, it's an illusion. It doesn't exist. Missing a day is not failure. The real failure is letting one missed day become 2 or 3 or a whole week. The key is to get back on track immediately, the very next day, or the very next opportunity. Don't let a small slip spiral out of control. Focus relentlessly on persistence, not perfection. The progress you've already made isn't erased just because of one missed step.
Right, persistence over perfection. And finally, there's a really powerful, almost audacious principle mentioned in the sources, the 30-day no exceptions principle. This sounds incredibly intense.
It is intense, no doubt about it, but it's remarkably effective for building that unwavering discipline and truly cementing a new behavior. For new habits, the idea is you commit to doing it every single day for 30 days straight. No weekends off, no vacation breaks, zero excuses. If you miss even one day, you restart the 30-day count from zero.
Wow. Back to day one.
Back to day one. This principle works because it ruthlessly prevents your mind from finding those sneaky excuses or creating back doors for escape. If you ever feel like you need a cheat day, it's actually a clear signal that your habit isn't laughably easy enough yet. It forces you to simplify it down until you truly cannot refuse to do it day after day.
Wow. Laughably easy enough. That really brings it all full circle, doesn't it? Emphasizing that the power lies in consistency, not intensity. This deep dive has truly highlighted that lasting personal growth isn't built on those sporadic, intense bursts of effort, but on the profound, compounding power of consistent, even, laughably easy daily actions.
That's really it. It's about training your brain, building deep self-trust, and making progress utterly inevitable over time. You're not just doing things. You are, with every single small action, casting powerful votes for your ideal self, day by day, habit by habit. It's a continuous compounding journey. It's not a single destination you just arrive at one day.
So the question for you listening is, what tiny, consistent step will you take today? Not tomorrow, not this week, but right now. Which single minuscule action can you commit to that will cast the very first vote for the incredible person you are becoming? The power truly is in your hands, one small action at a time. Embrace this new mindset and watch your life transform.